Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. This is Big Money Meni. Welcome back to the channel. Awesome to be back. I know it's been some time, but grateful to be back at work, back in business. You know what I'm saying? So, this is Big Money Meni Book Club. We have some other series that we are working on, some other projects we're working on, and I'm excited about it. Let me see if this is right. I'll make sure the music's not too loud. Anyway, got a new configuration going on here, so we'll see how this works out. Also, some new layouts, working with some new programs, just trying to figure out my way as a new podcaster. But either way, excited to bring you some new content, and we are going to dive into the book. The book is called Man Up by Bedros Keuilian. If you're following the channel, you know that I'm a fan of his, and I do apologize. I took some days off to take care of some business. We got a lot of things going on, but excited to be reading with you guys today. Please follow along. Read this book. I recommend it. I'm only 2 chapters in. We're about to conclude the second chapter today, which is called Getting Your Shit Straight. And we took it slow because there's some emergency breaks, as Bedros likes to call it, that he feels are big hurdles or, just barricades that keep people from moving forward and succeeding in whatever it is that they're trying to do. All right, so we got some background noise tonight, guys, and I hate apologizing about it. I'm upset because I got through setting it up and reading and highlighting and taking my notes, and as soon as I start to record, all this noise just came up out of nowhere. But we're gonna get it done anyways. Anyway, shout out to old friends that I ran into today, and for some, just a little encouragement that was given to me. Want to say thank you to you know who you are. If I ran into amigos today, anyway, we went out there to get some candy to take care of our Father's Day ulas. So if you don't know, I've a talent for it, or I just like doing it. I don't know talent, but I like making stuff for Mother's Day, Father's Day, Kids Day, Christmas, all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking that might be a project that we might get going. Maybe that could be a channel, just little crafts and things that I do. I just think it's fun. And, I just want to share some ideas out there, things that I like to put together, and we'll see how that goes. But anyways, back to the book, guys. By the way, if you're new here, please like, share, and subscribe. We are a brand new channel. We're trying to grow this thing. My mission is to get people reading again. We tend not to read anymore as soon as we get out of college or high school. We don't read as we should. And if we do read, it's usually a bunch of garbage. But we're over here, at Big Money Meni. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. Our mission is to help people empower themselves by picking up an awesome book that someone took the time to write so that you can better yourself. We're going to cover a little bit about that today here in this chapter with our third emergency break, right? And this is called Assessing Your Team. All right, so the last one was about managing time and not wasting time. We're actually he covers a little bit of that too here in this chapter as well, even though this chapter is about assessing your team, which is huge. Both subjects are huge, and they sort of intertwine with each other, which is why I believe it was why he placed it in that order. But It's very important to manage your time, and it's very important to assess your team. And if you don't assess your team right, which means the people you put around you, you are definitely going to be wasting your time, and you're going to mismanage time, energy, and all of that, guys. So let's see. Let me get you set up here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and read along the content of the of this portion of the chapter. Is there's not that much in it, but it's still very powerful. But what we really want to get to are the exercises at the end of this chapter. All right, so emergency break number 3: assessing your team. Nick was an amazing hire for the Fit Body Boot Camp. He practiced jiu-jitsu. He worked hard. He was also very happy. He knew how to coach the Fit Body Bootcamp owners and how to get things done. Nick came in with a lot of raw material. Unfortunately, he also saw when he came into the business that not a lot of people around him, didn't have his discipline, his enthusiasm, and work ethic. I didn't lead him well, not at all. It's him admitting that he did not lead Nick very well. It was a huge failure on my part. Over a 3-year period, he fell into a funk. I blamed him. Only later did I realize that it was because of what I was doing. All right, or more accurately, what I was not doing. I wasn't leading him. Now that's huge for someone to acknowledge that. That is definitely a truth. And a big one at that, as I am in a business where it's about people. It's a people building business. You need people to be clients. You also need people to work with you. You need to build people along your journey. And that's just generally how you build a self-sustaining business by developing people. And it's huge for him to acknowledge this, that he had this guy named Nick come in, and because he didn't train him well, he didn't lead him well, right? Nick, we'll see what happens to Nick right now. And he says here that Nick fell into a funk, and he and Bedros had blamed Nick, but only did he realize that it was because of what he was not doing, not leading him right. He says, I wasn't leading him, but he had the potential to be led and become a major, a really critical part of my business. It's a real shame that he quit. To his credit, he went on to start a new business. It was a real wake-up call for me when Nick left. He was someone who could have helped me and build and help my business grow. He could have worked up to the potential of leadership and great pay, but he left because of my failure of leadership, and I vowed never to let that happen again. Fast forward to 2013, a woman named Joan walked into my office. I could sense that she was a killer. She was Nick-like. She had poise, self-assurance, and that instinct. This time, I wasn't going to fail as a leader. Up until that point, I had been doing a bad job of taking care of myself. From 2007 to 2012, I lost my discipline. Even though I was a personal trainer, I stopped working out. Wow. I was stressed out all the time. I started eating fast food. Predictably, I put on a lot of weight and lost my hard-earned muscles. I took NyQuil and Vicodin to go to sleep. Otherwise, my constant state of overwhelm would keep me up all night. But in hiring Joan, I knew that those bad habits weren't going to cut it. I couldn't risk losing her due to the things that I could fix myself. Wow. Now that's a real leader who's learned the hard way, speaking out of experience. I couldn't risk losing myself or losing her due to the things that I could fix myself. Right? And he says, it took a lot of hard work, but it took a lot of work. It took a lot of time in the gym and cleaning up my diet. It took a lot of clarifying my vision, figuring out my path, and telling myself over and over that it was time to man up. Nice. But a big part of what motivated me was the people in my life, my wife, my kids, and my team, including employees like Joan. Once I realized that I was manning up for them and not just for me, it became easier to stay accountable to get things done. It's huge. Once I realized, I'm going to read that again. Once I realized that I was manning up for them and not just for me, it became easier to stay accountable and get things done. Often when people talk about their team, they often talk about their employees. But I want you to think of your team broadly. All right? So think about the people you have in your life. Here's some questions for you. What do they add to your life? What do they subtract? Ooh. Do they bring positivity, energy, and strength? Or do they suck your soul with complaints? Do they suck your soul with complaints, excuses, and nonsense? Wow. Do they add to your life? Do they subtract? Do they bring positivity, energy, strength? Or do they suck your soul with complaints, excuses, and nonsense? It's huge. When you hire employees, are you genuinely excited about them? Or do you just bring them aboard because you need to fill some seats? And this guy, he's dropping bombs here. Are you generally excited about the people that you bring on board, or are you just bringing them on board to fill some seats, right? Extend this to your friendships and personal relationships. Here's a great question right here. How deliberate are you about the people in your life? We're going to dive into this much more deeply into this later in the book, but it's important to think about this as one of the emergency brakes in your life, potentially holding you back. These aren't easy questions, but you need to ask them. You need to do a thorough assessment of the people that you let into your company and in your life. And remember, you've let them in. Where's the camera? You've let them in. Right, so it's on you to be honest about what they are doing in your life, man. All right, so guys, this is why we read, because you have an author who's succeeded, you have an author who's accomplished things, right? And they've gone through so much trouble, they've gone through the peaks and the valleys, and because they took the time to write this down and pretty much relive those moments in their life, and they get to narrate it this time and explain to you what was going through their mind and why they made those mess ups and why they made the right decisions. And so it would behoove you to go ahead and pick up a book and read and work on your mindset. See, because what you're doing is instead of going through your life from point A to point B, right, and then in the middle, you're just going up and down, up and down, up and down, making mistakes of your own. What you get to do is you get to lessen the mistakes and enjoy more of the peaks, because you've added the value that someone else has gained by the experience that they've acquired through living those situations. And now you get to add that to yourself. All right? Make life easier for you. Read a book. Let me tell you something, man. It really does help, because what happens is you go through the same situations like everybody else, but because you've got value added to your life from reading, you handle it with a little more grace, a little bit more poise. You're a little less shaken than everybody else. The more you read, the more your roots are deep, the more deepened they are, I guess you could say. The stronger you are, the less you bend in the storm. Guys, that is the mission of this channel. That's my encouragement here. So let's get to these exercises, okay? So we have a couple exercises, and these right here are bombs. Okay, so right now we're gonna number one. He has three of them for us, but let's do number one. And these are loaded questions. You really got to take the time. I really recommend, as we get into the exercises, that you take the time to write this out, right? Take a sheet of paper and use one for each of these three exercises that we have for this chapter, right? So this is for the entirety of the chapter 2. Number one, open up a document on your computer desk or take out a piece of paper and divide it into 4 columns. All right. And in these 4 columns, we're going to cover these subjects: fear, outcome, likelihood, and what can I do to prevent it? All right. So you may not get it all down in one sitting. But I want you to be brutally honest with yourself and write these things down. All right, so let's cover the first one, fear. What are you afraid of right now that's stopping you from getting what you want? Okay, what are you afraid of right now that's stopping you from getting what you want? All right, so that's going to be the first question that you're going to answer for fear. And what is the feeling in the pit of your stomach? Okay. That's be the first question. The second question is for outcome, or second column for outcome. What happens if you're afraid of what actually occurs? Be specific and detailed. Be gory, meaning don't hold back. Give yourself permission to outline it in all its awfulness. All right, so be truthful here. Give yourself permission to outline all of the bad, the awfulness, the truth of this situation. If what you are afraid of actually occurs, what's going to happen? Likelihood. How likely is it that what you are afraid of will actually happen? You can estimate in probabilities, or you can make a statement like it may happen sometime before December. What's the likelihood of this actually happening? Next column. What can I do to prevent it? This is where the rubber meets the road. Write down the tactical steps that you're going to take to prevent the outcome from actually happening. One way to do this is by going outside of myself, by saying, how would I advise a friend if they approached me with this issue? And he says, I don't care if your plans are intangible or tangible or pie in the sky, right? But write it down. Write down every strategy or tactic you can think of. I'll go through it with you right now. One of the fears I have that's keeping me from succeeding right now is rejection, facing rejection. It's a simple thing. It's easy to say, but if you're out there in the field doing what I do, which is developing leads to help people financially, rejection is there, right? And so what's the feeling in the pit of your stomach? That feeling is that I should be a lot better than I am, right? Outcome. If it happens, what happens if you're afraid of actually occurs? Actually, it's silly, because the worst thing that we're taught that the worst thing that can happen to you in sales is someone says no. What's the likelihood of it actually happening? Very likely. Not everybody's going to say yes. Most people will say no, right? And what can I do to prevent it? Just move on to the next one, right? So I'm already prepared on handling my fear in that instance, right? So that's pretty simple. Just to give you an example, right? So that's a short-term one. Let me give you a long-term. Okay, so fear. What are you afraid of, and what's stopping you from getting what you want? I'm really afraid of not setting up my family correctly financially, and not teaching them everything that I know, and that if I should pass away prematurely, that they weren't equipped and they didn't have everything that's been going on in my mind, because my mind is just, I got thoughts all over the place, things that I know that I feel my kids should know, and I haven't transferred that knowledge yet. So what's keeping me from getting what I want, which is to empower them and set them up financially and in every way I can? Nothing. It's really just me getting in my own way. The outcome, what happens if what you're afraid of actually occurs? If I pass away and don't set up my family right, my fear is that they would get to desperation and do things that they shouldn't have to go through, things they shouldn't have to go through. Be specific and detailed. Dude, if I don't take care of my son, I leave prematurely, which is my fear. Who knows? He might go the wrong way. He might be, he might be a thief. He might be into crime and doing whatever he can to fill that void. I would never want him to have that void. Right? And so I'm afraid of what he might turn to being gory. I mean, what else do people do when they lose a father too early or have that void in their life? You know, they turn to drugs and all kinds of stuff, depression. All right. Give yourself permission to outline all of it, and it's off of this. I mean, all the people that, all the sins that are available to him. You know, there'll be nothing there to hold him back, no voice in his head. And that's part of the reason why I started this channel, is to have a documented voice, have a documented outline of my thinking, my thoughts, so that my kids can always tune in when I'm no longer here. You know, I wish to God that I had all my dad's home videos that I can hear his voice again. You know, he's gone now, but I wish that more of it was documented, and I had said documents, right, so I can just tune into to him. But that's part of the reason why we have this channel here. Likelihood, how likely is it that what I'm afraid of will happen? Death is imminent. It's going to happen. You know, it's just a matter of time, not if, it's when. So, very likely that I'm going to be leaving, and what's the likelihood of leaving him unprepared? Well, that really does depend on how fast I move in that subject, right? And so, going outside, what can I do to prevent it? More action, proper use of my time, right? So managing my time better, just like we learned in the last chapter. That's definitely one of my big issues. All right. So there you go. There's a short-term example from me and a long-term example from me as well. Right. So question number 2. It says here, open up your calendar, exercise number 2. Open up your calendar from the last 2 weeks. Now, this is huge. And make a list of people that you spent time with, right? If you did not schedule the time with these people, but, they just happen to drop by, or, you just happen to run into them or something. For some reason, you have time that you spent throughout your day with people that was not planned. It says if you did not schedule the time, then write down their names. If you didn't schedule that time to be spent with people in the past 2 weeks, write down their names and stop when you get to 10 people. If you run a company, do this with your employees and your partners too. All right, so when you get to 10, stop and take a look at these 10 people and go name by name. And I want you to ask yourself these 2 questions. Are these people adding value to my life or my business? And are they taking value and costing me time that could be better invested in others? It's big. It's big. So you got to take your calendar, look back at the past 2 weeks, and anybody you spend time with that you didn't plan on spending time with, write down their names and ask yourself these 2 questions. Are they adding value to my life or business? And are they taking value? Are they adding or subtracting from you, right? Are they taking value and costing me time that can be better invested with others? All right. 3rd exercise. That's a major one. Number 3, sit down and write out 3 big things that must get done on a daily basis in order to keep your momentum up. All right. Now, refuse to waste a single minute doing non-essential things that are time killers before these 3 are completed. So sit down and write down the 3 big things that you must get done on a daily basis in order to keep your momentum up. And now you got to make a decision that you're not going to waste any single minute doing anything that is non-essential, right? Anything that is a time killer, right? Before these 3 are completed, right? So make sure, whatever that 3 is. And we learned that from Hector Lamarck. He says the day before, the night before you go to sleep, write down your game plan for the next day, right? And we had that talk today. I failed miserably, but that's definitely something we got to do. Wake up in the morning and tackle these three things first. All right. And so what should you choose? Let me offer some suggestions. Now here's from Bedros. He offers meditation, morning workout. That's a typo. Reading for 20 minutes, journaling ideas to exponentially improve your business or your life, sending a gratitude email or text message to 3 people that you value. That's nice. Improving one system in your business that will increase profits, service, or reach. All right. So that's part of our new daily thing, to do. My wife and I were trying to increase our reach in social media. We haven't really done that before. This is still something that's been new to us. We've been doing business the old school way, but we're trying to improve our reach here with social media. So please help with that by liking and subscribing, sharing, all that stuff, and send your comments. Let us know what you feel about what we're doing here. But I like that, sending a gratitude email or a text message to 3 people that you value, doing that on a daily basis. I mean, it's such a blessing. One of the biggest topics I used to preach on is the power of the tongue, and how impactful it is just to say hello to somebody and ask how you're doing, or say have a great day. Saying that, just simple words. You don't understand how far that can go for somebody. You never know what somebody's dealing with on their, in their life, in their personal life, the deep traumas that they're dealing with, the depression. I found out that there's areas in my life where I'm depressed, and I didn't realize that because I try hard to stay positive, and didn't realize there's some areas that I really am lacking and facing depression. And so not saying that it's like a big bad thing, it's not like I'm gonna kill myself, but it's definitely some areas that where I'm not happy. It took me a minute to sit down there and really acknowledge that. Doing your morning workout, that's awesome. Definitely something you want to do. My wife and I are changing that. We've been consistent with getting our steps in every day. Meditating is awesome. Just sitting there, just really going through your thoughts and sorting things out. It's a great exercise. All right. So executing at least one of these things every morning, that'll move the money needle. Nice. All right. And it says here, the truth is, you can find what you need to keep your energy up. This process is about writing those things down and committing to them. All right, so that's it for this chapter, guys. I mean, what a powerful way to end up chapter 2. So far, this book has been powerful. It really has been. And I'm just so thankful to have come across Bedros Keuilian, all from a YouTube video. We heard one speech from him, one interview, and I was like, man, this guy is awesome. And so followed up on him, and found out through a random video that he had a YouTube channel, and started following along and listening to his interviews and just the things that he has to share with people. And it's just been some powerful information, really empowering, and again, the reason why we have this channel, to get people to read. I learned about self-improving and picking up a book to really work on yourself through my business and through my coaches. And I was just, we just don't have that in our culture today. It's not about reading. It's about visual things. We want to listen to podcasts. We want to watch movies. We want to see the pictures. Reading is just really out of style. But I got to tell you guys, reading really has improved my life in many ways, and I'm just grateful for the gift of reading and just picking up a book and diving into the mindset of someone else who's made it through some stuff, who's gone through some battles. And most of us today, probably the most reading we do is the Bible. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. I'm a big fan of the Bible as well. And definitely, yes, we got to read up on that every day, but also my encouragement is pick up a book and read. So to sum up today's chapter or today's content, really be careful about the people that you have in your life. You got to be intentional about it. You really do. If you don't realize how much people make an impact on you just by being around, you don't realize it. When you start to wake up and realize the power and the effect that people have around you, you'll start to be a little bit more careful about the people that you choose to have in your life. And I love how he came to an acknowledgement here that he realized it's really up to you. You know, it's not their fault that you gave them that time. It's not your fault that you gave them that energy. It really does come to you. You got to be sort of a filter to allow people in your life at any given moment, you know, and realize, are they adding to me or are they taking my energy? You know, now there are some situations where people are in need and maybe they need you to help them. They need you to add on to them. And so for that's why we got to keep getting better, guys. That's why we got to keep elevating. That's why we got to keep reading, because there's people that I'm going to run into that need a word, that need a piece of advice. And maybe I got it from a book that I read, right? That's why we got to do this. So, again, follow the channel, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. We're going to open up some other avenues to get this podcast out there. And if you guys have any suggestions, any books that you feel that I should be reading too, go ahead and send them my way. I would love to highlight and get through that. But, you know, all in all, man, you know, we have an awesome God above us who really does have a great plan for you. And whatever that journey is, man, I just pray that you receive power and strength to push through it. And just nothing but positivity your way, man. God bless you all. Look out for the next one. Hopefully it's not going to be another 2 weeks. I'm going to push to get it done tomorrow. And if I don't, man, you know, if there are any fathers out there, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, Papa. You know, love you guys. God bless you all. Have a great night, and I'll see you again.